right?
So no, there's definitely not. That's
there's
the
other
big
bats,
name.
but
No, I'm talking about.
no.
I'm talking about starting pitching,
I'm
right?
talking out loud.
Hey man,
Jesus.
chill. Jeez, God, you're so angry today. I'm the one who's hurt.
Turn me off.
Hit it.
Welcome to the Coach's Sons podcast. My name is Andrew.
Now I'm Chris.
And this is July 3rd, so we're recording a day early so that everyone can enjoy their holiday. We're going to still release. I don't know why I'm telling you when we're releasing, because you're going to listen to it. You already know. It is what it is. Thank you guys for joining us today. We are having a special trade show. Chris?
Trade deadline talk. It is early. However, the way we're breaking this down is we're going to do all, trade rumors, expectations, all that type of stuff today. And in our next episode, now we're back on our regular cadence, right? Mm-hmm. So we'll be taping during the All-Star break. Mm-hmm. And that is going to just be basically a year in review.
Yeah.
Right? Break down what's going on. Hope maybe by then there's some trades that already get made. Who knows? If not, then hell, we get lucky and we get to do another trade version towards the end. So that's what we're looking like going forward. We've been this is probably the most interaction we've had pre-show of just what the hell are we doing,
right?
And then we kind of started getting into it. We're stop, we need to save
that for the podcast.
Yeah, we were getting testy to the point where Andrew's like, Chris, what are you arguing? And I didn't have an answer.
It is what it is, and this is why we're good podcasters, because we fight all the time. So, all right, trade show. Let's talk overall scope, right? So there are going to be buyers, there's going to be sellers. Let's start with the sellers, because that's not as fun. The team I think we can all agree is going to sell is the White Sox.
Yeah, they should sell everything. They should just sell the goddamn team.
Yeah,
Ryan's just sell everything.
We had people who were on our show that would agree with you.
Yes.
So obvious sellers. What other teams do you think fit that mold, or they're definitely it's over. They're not going to try to do anything other than get rid of players. So
at this point, the only obvious ones are the White Sox.
Yes,
I would
agree with that.
The Rockies, and this is purely on record, and I know that's kind of how you do it a lot.
Yeah.
However, we're gonna name, and you might have one other team or something, but I'm naming the three bottom dwellers, and then from there, it's very hard to just pinpoint a team because you don't know, and we're gonna hash that out because that was a point of controversy a little bit before. But I think the Rockies can be who that is. I don't know. I mean, really, the big name would be Ryan McMahon.
Yep.
And thinking a trade show, I probably should have looked up what the hell his splits look like away from Coors. Mm-hmm. But probably given his price, it's probably worth giving him a shot to play third base or second base for you.
Yeah.
But other than that, do you want Cal Quantrill?
No,
what?
Yeah, that's the thing. The Rockies don't have a lot. I would say the Marlins fit into that mold.
Correct.
That
was one I forgot.
That was one you had. Okay, so the Marlins have a bunch of pieces that they could get rid of, whether we're talking about young arms. Jazz is a name that's come up. I just think, man, you're going to have to give up a lot for Jazz. I think Josh Bell is a lot more probable, but there's names on the Marlins, and they're way out of contention. I think that's a team that definitely is in the seller zone, but we don't know for sure. Who else you got?
The A's, right? They're always a team.
Yeah. And
I will say this. I think they're sellers, but I don't think it's Mason Miller. Mason Miller doesn't get moved.
But that's
the key. But
that's the main guy. They could get a.
Honestly, the only thing I'm thinking of is one guy, and that's Brent Rooker.
Yeah.
And he could make a team a little better. Fun fact: I'm going to go back to Ryan McMahon here really quick. His splits are very, very similar.
Really?
At home, 276 with an 809 OPS, got 7 home runs, 25 RBIs. On the road, 262 with a 798 OPS. 7 home runs, 18 RBIs. That's 40 and 43 games respectively. So, honestly, he's not a terrible risk.
But so you said third or second. Who do you think would go for that?
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, sorry. That's what we're here for. But you threw me right on the cusp there, and I took off my. Oh, here we go. Third base. They're not going to do it, but the Seattle Mariners sure as shit could use one.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Guardians, like, again,
there's
within
options,
this, we're going to go through like certain teams
actual
that are just
names,
like, who can use, these particular guys. This kind of backs into it a little bit. The Twins might have to make a move because Royce Lewis, the poor guy, can't stay healthy.
Yeah,
he just hit the IL again, groin injury. Another thing I haven't really looked up, but I'm pretty sure like most of his injuries just aren't related or like aren't the same. They might be related, but like they're just not. He just gets hurt. It's something new every time, and you're just like, okay. But so the Twins, if they think they're going to go a long time without him, they did just call up prospect Brooks Lee. I'm sure they're going to give him a shot and see what happens. But they're 11 games over 500. Mm-hmm. They're not out of anything, right? They're in the mix. They're in the division. The Guardians are kind of in a decent spot. But
all right. So there's two other teams I think that could be sellers.
Go on.
And they're both in the same division.
Go on.
Just guess. Both same division.
I know exactly who you're
going to say. So American League East, I think both the Rays and the Blue Jays could be sellers, but also they could be random buyers too. But I think they're on that cusp. Toronto less so because Toronto is a good 7 games out of the wild card.
They are.
I just think Toronto wants a lot for their young guys, which I understand. So that's the thing too. I think that's what makes it interesting. The White Sox are obvious. These other teams they've got guys, but are they willing to play ball? Or do they just want the farm? Well, and if they want the farm, people aren't going to give it for most of these players.
Speaking of the Rays, if you're this ingrained in it, Aaron Savale just got traded to the Brewers.
Right. Okay, so they're already sellers.
Was it to the Brewers?
He went to the Brewers.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. From the Rays, they got some prospect. Like in typical Rays fashion, I am certain they're going to win the trade in 3 years.
Oh, exactly. That guy's going to be a super stud. Mm-hmm.
I also wouldn't consider that like, oh my God, they're selling because they just replaced him with Shane Baz, who's one of their young arms coming back from injury. I know Jeffrey Springs is on his way back, should be soon. I think he had a couple setbacks in the minors on his way up. But to your point, the Rays, while they have guys that other teams can be interested in, they're 43-42, not the best record. They're 3 games out.
They're not far out.
They're there.
And this is where the contention comes in is like who are actual buyers, the ones that are on the cusp, right? When should you still be a buyer when you're on that wild card cusp? So, all right. So I don't think any other teams really fit the mold for sellers.
Just straight sellers.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
All right. So let's talk about buyers. This is the opposite end. Let's start with the obvious ones. I think we can both agree the Astros and the Yankees are probably on top of being the biggest buyers. Do you agree with that?
I do, but I would also add the Orioles.
Okay,
because in theory, the Royals can get whoever they want.
The Royals. You just said Orioles.
I back up.
Okay.
Fuck the Royals. Always and forever.
Always fuck the Royals, yes.
I misspoke.
Okay.
The Orioles.
Okay.
The Baltimore Orioles can get any player, any one singular player that they want, they can get.
Because of their prospect
yes.
list.
They might overpay. You might come away with it and be like, wow, they gave up way too much.
Right.
But if they want X, they can get X.
That's very fair.
That's a done deal. There's no team in the league that has the horde of prospects that they do at playing at such a high level. Like, yes, there's other teams that have guys that are in fucking single A and they're 20 years old. You're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
They have a slew of guys in AAA. They're all probably top 50 to 100 prospects, and they're ready, and the only reason they can't come up is because they have Gunnar Henderson, Jordan Westburg. Like they have this just
everybody
already
in front of them. Yeah. Okay, so I think that's correct. The O's too. I think there are obvious cusp teams too that are like are underperforming, like the Braves.
Yes.
I think the Marlins are a team that needs to buy, but and I
think
who? Oh, sorry, the Mariners. I pointed at you.
We're doing bad at this.
Yeah,
you did point at me.
Yeah,
that's like the Marlins.
The Mariners.
They are.
And I think that another team that's an obvious buyer that's not on top would be like the Giants.
You said that, and I don't particularly love that because I just don't know what they are. But I would say I would trade them out for the Padres because no matter what, the Padres are. again,
Dodgers and Padres from that division, definite buyers.
Yeah, I will always I will always give credit to the Padres because no matter what happens, no matter how many times it comes crumbling down, they will always attempt to get a good player, no matter the cost, and they do deal with the consequences. They don't really complain about it. They eat it. But I give them credit. Now you could say they already got a rise. This was a month ago, right? So they made a move already. And we'll see what else that they do because they still have some decent prospects available and some young guys around that they can throw out there. Who knows what they actually do in that regard? But I would put them well ahead of the Giants. I just don't know what the Giants are. I look at their lineup every day and I'm just like, this team isn't a guy away.
So, and that's very fair. And I definitely don't disagree with you there. I'm looking at, usually you say top teams are the buyers. They want to make that final push to get the playoffs and get the World Series. It's tough in the Central because you've got all these teams that Milwaukee, St. Louis, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and the Cubs. I mean, I've heard the Cubs might be looking to deal people away, but it's tough to say they will.
I've seen reports of two, you would call them their bigger names, of Bellinger and Nico Horner.
Horner, really?
Potentially.
Okay. Wow. Good player.
I think it was Bleacher. I forget, so don't eviscerate me. But I want to say it was Bleacher Report put out Bellinger like a top team that can get Bellinger being the Mariners.
Wow. Okay.
Now, cool, great. How that happens, I don't know.
How stiff were you?
I was pretty excited. And Bellinger's on a decent contract, especially if he lives up to the hype.
Yes. All right, so let's go down the list. Definite buyers: Orioles, Yankees. No one else from that division. We're talking about definites, right? Central, Cleveland, Minnesota. Do we think either of those two teams are definite buyers?
No.
Okay. Well, I agree with you. I don't think either of those teams are definite.
Yeah. If anything, they'll make small upgrades.
West, we both agree the Mariners and the Astros are definite buyers. Or would you take the Mariners off that list? Okay.
Do I want them to be?
Okay.
Is a different question than will they be?
Want and will.
The Astros will be. The Astros will make
they'll make an
improve. Like they will improve.
Yeah.
The Mariners should improve. In theory, they have everything they can do.
We'll get to the Mariners later.
You're already getting me wrong.
National League East, Philadelphia, Atlanta. I think Atlanta are definite buyers. I don't think Philly is.
I think they will be.
You think they will be?
I think they'll just solidify the rest of the team. Like, oh, they need bullpen guys. Let's go get a bullpen guy. Like that's where they're at.
Okay.
Like and maybe like some like a solid backup.
They're not splash buyers. Where I think the teams I'm saying are definitely getting 1 to 2, a big name or 2+ people to try to make themselves better.
It really depends on if they're now. That would be an interesting spot for like Luis Robert. Like, what do they do? How do they do it? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's I think it's a boom, like the biggest boom, or they just kind of stand pat, if you will, and just make those small additions. This bullpen guy here, a platoon outfielder there.
Do you think they're obvious buyers, though?
No.
Okay. All right. That's what we're talking about.
Oh, wait. Do I think they're obvious buyers? Yes.
Yes. All right. Okay, whatever. So that's 6.
Yes.
Anyone in the Central, Milwaukee technically are already bought. St. Louis, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati. Do we think any of those are obvious buyers? I don't think any of them are obvious buyers. I think there's a case all of them should buy something, but I don't think any of these guys are going to make a big splash. Like, so me, an obvious buyer is someone that's going to go after a big name or go after multiple names. And I just don't think, Milwaukee, they're not shored up their bullpen, okay, or their rotation. All these teams are going to get a fifth starter, a fourth starter at best.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
I suppose I can get behind that. I mean,
okay.
Again, what I think is reality and what I want to happen is different. So I'll agree with you. I'll agree.
And then West, we got L.A. and San Diego. So there's 7 teams that are obvious buyers.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about the fringe guys because this is where it was a little contentious. Yeah. So let's just start with the American League, right? Right now, the Yankees are on, and the Twins lead for a wild card. Kansas City is right there. Boston, Houston, Tampa Bay, Toronto, Texas, and Detroit are all within 8 games. Do we think all of those teams are buyers? If you're within 8 games, does that make you a buyer? Okay, let's start with there. If you're a GM, dream job, right? You're a GM of a team and you are 8 games out of the last wild card spot. Are you buying or selling?
If you are the Detroit, it depends. If you're the Detroit Tigers, you're selling. What you sell, I don't know, like Mark Canha.
Jack Flaherty.
Well, yeah.
1,000%.
What was his deal? Was his a 1-year deal?
Yeah, he's got one. I think because he's the number 1 rental prospect.
He's got to go.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think
he's got to be gone.
And I think he's pitched his ass off. I mean,
he's had a really good year. I agree.
Not better than Scoble, but he's been very close number-wise, right? And so I didn't say better, Chris. Don't roll your eyes at me. I said his numbers have been very good.
They're good.
And so he is an obvious trade, and it's a younger team. So, I think
I would get rid of him.
I think, they're definitely in that position.
That's one.
Okay.
I think
like the Boston Red Sox right now, 45-39.
Yeah.
They have overperformed.
Very much so.
Right? Are they buyers or are they sellers?
They can't be sellers. That city will riot.
But
they can't. That's not a That's not a thing. You put on your list Tyler O'Neill. There's no way. He hits 3.
They could get so much in return for him right now because of how well he's played. And so they're a younger team.
I think you overvalue what Tyler O'Neill costs.
I think there's a lot of teams that really need a Tyler O'Neill in their lineup because of injuries.
But I don't think how do they replace him? Like you're not going to convince a fan base that's a half a game out in 6 games. It's not their half a game out in 2 games under 500 like half of the goddamn National League.
Right.
They are whatever we just said, 6 games over. They're a half a game out of the wild card to the Royals, who are going to drop like rocks. So I think they have to buy. Like they have to try something. They can't sell. I will say that. So that I'd keep them in limbo. I don't know what they're supposed to do. And in part of the tough part of this conversation is we're doing this on July 3rd, and these teams have until July 30th to decide. So the Red Sox can go 10-15 this month and be at 500, and now that conversation is completely turned on its head.
I just think the Red Sox have so many different pieces they could trade away, like Crawford and Hawk on their pitching side.
That guy's you can't trade that Cy Young.
They could get but he's I don't know about Cy Young. I mean, he's definitely pitching his ass off, but I don't know if Cy Young is what we're talking about. You think so?
He's up there.
I know he's up there, but I'm just saying. But he's a guy who's coming in, getting hot at the right time. They could get a lot for him. They could get a lot for Crawford, who's also pitching very well. They could get a bunch for O'Neill. Like, I'm just saying that this team is on the cusp, but they know they're outperforming. So why would you not want to?
You go for it. If you're a team that knows what's going, like to the Boston Red Sox, you have been there before. You can't just pack it in. It's unallowable. That's indefensible. Mm-hmm. You can't just be like, nah, I'm good. I'm just going to get rid of. We're going to give our young guys a try. You heard
a review from our fan base or our fan show when we talked about a bunch of different teams. Yeah. One of the things they pointed out was how this ownership team doesn't give a shit. They're trying to save money.
Sure.
So to me, that's like this team sees dollar signs. They can get more money. They can get younger players. I feel like they hit that. They're on that limbo that they could go. It could go either way. I understand your argument, but I'm saying a perspective of knowing what that team is, what they have to offer, and what they could get back. It's more beneficial for them in the long run to be sellers.
Then here you are hoping that they go 10-15.
That's fair. If they have a hell of
but that's a different conversation.
I agree.
If there's still 6 games over 500 in 1 game out of the playoff race in 25 days, they're not selling anybody. Mm-hmm. They're just not.
I mean, we'll see.
They'll make an equal trade for a need that they feel that they have, but they're not going to lose. They're not going to take on prospects for people that are contributing to their everyday lineup. This is not happening. It's not.
Okay. I mean, we'll see what happens. Like you said, there's still a lot of baseball to be played for the most part.
Yeah.
We know that. Okay, Kansas City. They're in the conversation, what do they do? Are they buying?
They'll
Obviously,
buy.
They have to buy something.
They'll
but
try to buy.
They're not making a splash, though. They're just like they did in the offseason. They bought these guys. Like, no, that's not going to help.
I mean, if they're capable of, I guess we'll call it scouting. If they're capable of scouting guys to this extent, then they're going to be okay, right? They'll find that fringe guy. They'll find that middle of the road player that is going to take them to the next level, I suppose. Where that comes from, I don't know. Who that looks like, I don't know. I don't recall. Like I can't say I've seen them like in every,
I haven't seen their name in a lot of conversations.
I don't know. I don't think they have a ton to offer minor league wise.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't.
Yeah, it's tough. I think that they could definitely use pieces to make that push, but I don't know how they do that. And you're right. They haven't really been connected to a lot of different teams. So.
That's another team where, again, you have ownership that's fine being status quo. Yes, they paid Bobby Witt Jr.
Yeah.
But then this offseason, they made crazy move. Like, they spent decent amount of money on Seth Lugo.
Yep.
Like, they brought in these guys. So I guess anything's possible. I'm not going to root for them ever.
No,
but
of course not.
It would be cool to see them kind of hang around with a different structure than they've had before.
Yeah.
And like I said, if they're able to scout people like that, Seth Lugo one solid year as a starter and now just a stud somehow.
Yeah.
Is
all right. So
worthwhile.
we talked about the rest of the AL that has a shot. Houston definitely buyers. Tampa Bay and Toronto, we don't know. But then there's two other teams that I think are interesting, and they're on the opposite ends of this. It's the Minnesota Twins, who are right now in the wild card. They're plus 2 games. And then you have the Texas Rangers, who are 7 games out.
I think the Rangers will make calls. I think they'll try.
Do they have the room for that, though, because of all of that money that's tied up in their arms that don't
they have money.
I guess that's fair.
Money isn't the problem.
Yeah.
I think just because you're coming off a World Series, you got to give it a go.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I almost said that they don't have prospects, but all their prospects are up, right? Carter's injured, sure.
Mm-hmm.
But Carter, Wyatt Langford, who's coming out, he hit for the cycle on Sunday Night Baseball, by the way, which is awesome.
Yep.
So their young guys are just here, right? They've arrived. They don't have much beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
And, some teams are going to play this game of, we have, a new acquisition coming in whenever, and it's Jacob deGrom coming off the IL because we haven't seen him pitch in God knows how long.
Right. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
They just got Scherzer back. Do they have anybody else hurt? I think that's it.
I think that's it.
But
that's left at least. Yeah.
No, they have the hell's his name? I can't think of it. Shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is bad.
Mm-hmm. It's great podcasting.
I can't get Kyle Loesch out of my head,
That's
and I know for a fact it's not Kyle Loesch. He pitched for the Reds.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyways, whatever.
Somebody will know who he is.
We'll fix that in post.
But no, we're not. That stays.
All right. Fair
so you have to see how the mind of Chris works sometimes. So I think they'll attempt to improve in a small way.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they have a major league roster constructed. Josh Jung is about to come back.
Mm-hmm.
He's been hurt most of the year. Again, I don't know the time frame on Carter, but he should be coming back soon. And then
DeGrom at some point.
DeGrom's coming soon, and who the hell knows? I guess I really don't have any reason to believe he won't be dominant when he pitches. It's just how much of him do you get?
Yep.
And Scherzer's been pitching pretty well, all things considered. So, and the problem has always been their pitching, honestly. Yeah. So they add a couple guys, they'll be okay. And
so they go for like a 3 or 4 starter. Yeah, maybe. I think that's right. I mean, lineup that
lineup's fine.
They still mash. Yeah, they just don't have the pitching. Okay, so what about the Twins? And here's my problem with the Twins is they've never shown us to be big buyers.
Correct.
And they're already in a spot. So, I mean, they have to replace Lewis.
I don't know
right?
I don't know how long he's out for, but they have to have a backup, backup plan.
Yeah.
I think it is. I wish I knew more about the vibes in Minnesota in terms of them coming off the playoff series win and being all that excited, because that was a big deal, right? They got the monkey off their back. They're here to play. They're still paying Correa a ton of money. Correa's playing well, all things considered.
Yep.
They ditched a big contract to Jorge Polanco. They dumped him on my Mariners. But they have some holes. They're not a complete team. Byron Buxton's playing really well right now. Does he hold up?
Yep.
They're buyers in the sense of they're going to scoop up your middle of the road guys.
Yeah.
Be able to maneuver in that regard.
They're not going to make splashes per se. They're going to update their roster, but they're not going to
They'll grab and I'm sorry if I'm jumping the gun on what you're trying to do later, but they'll grab maybe a Taylor Ward from the Angels.
Right.
And insert him wherever. And again, I already said I think they're a candidate for Ryan McMahon.
Okay.
Well, if Ryan McMahon's available, again, salary constraints, because I know they're weird about money, but they're paying Correa.
Yeah.
And they could probably use another pitcher just to get through the year.
Yeah. Everybody needs an arm. Yeah,
everybody needs it. Everybody needs it.
Okay, so that's the American League. And so that I feel like the American League is, if anything, a little more cut and dry.
Agreed.
When you go to the National League, holy balls.
Where's your cutoff?
I mean, the only two
Nationals,
teams,
because they're not.
So here's the problem. Between Atlanta, which is 3 up, St. Louis is 0.5 up, San Diego all the way down to the Cubs, it's 5.5 games. And then the only two teams not on this list within 5.5 are the Marlins and Rockies, who we named already.
Yeah.
So you have Washington and Chicago. Chicago's 5.5 out now. Washington's 5. What do those two teams do? Are they buyers? They're so close.
I think Washington.
We talked about teams being 7 out that should be buyers.
Well, I'm going to contradict myself probably, but I feel.
Oh boy!
I'm going to jump ahead.
Okay.
I'm going to jump ahead
you bastard.
For this comparison.
Okay.
I think they are the same but different than the Pirates. Here's why. I think the Pirates have a couple more proven players. I think the Pirates have a little bit more excitement behind them. However, the Nationals did just call up James Wood. That was kind of surprising based on the timing. I expected September for him. I don't think they make any big moves, but I think they'll sell little pieces. They'll get rid of some of the bullpen guys. They could get rid of Finnegan. They could get rid of Hunter Harvey. And I know
they're like 7th, 8th, and 9th inning pitchers all could be moved. For sure.
I think they will. I think those are the types of moves they make. And maybe Joey Meneses if somebody wants them.
Yeah.
But
so they're sellers then.
Yeah. But
okay.
But no, I don't expect. Unless somebody comes with them, but I expect Lane Thomas to get moved for a couple of years, and they re-signed him. But he's like the oddball out there almost, right? Where
I agree.
He's 28, 29.
I mean, maybe they caught up Wood, so they in anticipation of moving.
Maybe he's a good player. So if yes, I think. I would consider them a big-time seller if they got rid of him.
Yep.
I don't know who they get rid of pitching. You're clearly not getting rid of Gore. Gray's probably hurt.
Yep.
He just got an elbow thing. Patrick Corbin, they're stuck
I'll
with
trade
him.
Crackers for him.
I'd love for them to DFA him and just be like, screw it, we'll eat the whatever million. But
too much.
Here's another point. If they're going to keep trotting Patrick Corbin out there, they're not serious.
Oh, yeah. I see. That's the thing.
That's it.
Like,
they don't care.
think that they haven't been, and they're overperforming. Just like I think them and Boston are very similar, where they're playing on borrowed time. And I think everybody knows that, and that they're still a year to 2 years off from being competitive. So I agree with you. Here's the problem. The Cubs, who are 5.5, I'm almost like they can't
They want to
sell.
burn it. They should burn it down.
They should, but they're like, I don't know. They're so close. And
send Bellinger to Seattle, baby. I'll pack his bags for him. Send me out there. I'll pack his bags for him. I just think
for
him.
The age of that team, they almost. I mean, I guess they have some younger guys, but I feel like they're closer to, hey, we got to win now before we run out of time. That's just kind of how I see them compared to the Nationals. Are like, no, we don't have to be buyers because we're not in a hurry. Does that make sense? Like that's how my brain is looking at this.
I agree with the Nationals not having to be buyers. I don't think they should go for it unless they go on.
I think they're borderline sellers, to be honest with you.
Who?
The Nationals.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I don't disagree. If they could restock and get some close to major league ready prospects, fine.
Completely agree.
Do what they have to do. The Cubs are, as you said, are in a weird spot. Their roster's kind of mixed. Dansby's not particularly young. I don't think Justin Steele is that young. I don't know his age off the top of my head. I'll guess 27.
Okay, I'll look it up.
That's my guess. Imanaga's 30, and he's pitching his ass off. I don't think he's going to be better than he is right this second.
28.
Steele? That was close.
Yep.
Morel, who can't feel the baseball but hits the shit out of the ball.
Yep.
They claim that they don't want Suzuki on the team. Like, I think they're going to sell and try to retool because they do have some guys supposedly able to, like Crow Armstrong.
Yep.
Now, he's not good from a fantasy perspective. Don't pick him up in any of your leagues.
Nope.
But he's a good baseball player.
Yeah, he's got potential.
He plays D. He's fast. He can.
We talked about him in the preview shows. Like, he's a good player.
And he's still young.
Ian Happ has played really well.
That's another guy. He's 30 years old.
Yeah.
Like, what? I agree. That's a tough spot.
Yeah, that's
because I don't think
thing.
any fans will be mad if they.
See, but I feel like they would be. I mean, like, again, Boston and Wrigley, same idea. That fan base is so passionate. They'll support him no matter what. So maybe the owners don't give a shit. And like, no, we got to burn it down.
I think that's part of it too, though.
But they have so many pieces there that are win now. You know, and so it's tough for me to go, yeah, they're going to be sellers. So I think that team is in a very weird spot. All right.
I don't know. I'm torn, but I think they end up selling because they have too many old guys and they have to mix in.
Yeah.
Those guys, there's still time to trade a decent crop of those people and the rest of them be fine in terms of age. They could still create their own little window. It's not very big, maybe a 2 or 3 year window.
Right.
Without moving Steele, without moving Imanaga. But you get rid of Bellinger, you're like, screw it. I don't want to pay him the $25 million next year. Get something for him and maybe it pans out. I don't know. No. I'm not saying you can't be giving. They're not in a point of giving people away.
No, I don't think
you can't get what you want, eat them and we'll figure it out.
It's definitely not a fire sale. I think that team is definitely in a more precarious position. All right, so if we're going down the wild card, Atlanta's at the top. We know they're going to be buyers. They have to be.
I said this to you. You're going to get mad at me.
What's that?
I don't know how they're going to be able to get anybody. They have nothing.
Well, we have a few top 100 again finally. But I think we're gonna get rid of like arms and stuff, to be honest with you, like the bullpen folks, and lots of money. Like we're not getting anyone big. Let me dial it back. We're going to be a team that's not making big splashes by names, but we are. We have to have. I think we're gonna get multiple players added for sure.
You're getting Eric Fetty, and you're going to like it.
Dude, I would love Eric Fetty, but we're probably going to get someone more like Kopech, who's not pitched well, so he won't get as much of a price tag attached to him. We won't get Crochet.
You should just give them another 19 dumb prospects.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see
that don't pan out.
That won't pan out, right? St. Louis. This team to me is interesting.
I don't know. I don't like them.
They can't be buyers. They're worse than the Cubs. Like they're over the hill, and maybe that's a better discussion to why they should be buyers. Like this is our last shot, But like I think Helsley is going to get
they can't.
They're going to move him, and they're going to get all the prospects in the world, and they're going to be like, okay, time to reset. Like they're going to have to weigh that in. You know what I mean?
Hang on. I think it's highly unlikely at this particular stage that they move Helsley. However, if they do, that doesn't mean that they give up. They just they'll be able to insert somebody else here. They can go find another guy for a fraction of the price and throw him back there. Now, it won't be as good. It'll be a committee type of thing. Mm-hmm. However, what they get, assuming they get a decent
something
haul,
else, yeah.
I don't think he moves. I think he's been rumored because they weren't supposed to be good, and another story of an NL team overperforming.
Exactly. Yep.
But because I don't think, is there anybody that's like catching your eye from the Cardinals? Like I don't think Goldschmidt or I don't think anybody's having a particularly good season.
No, there's no one stands out from the Cardinals other than
like Brendan Donovan.
No,
but again, having a good year, I guess. But Goldschmidt.
Helsley's the only one that pops, and he's pops super loud because he's been arguably the best closer in the game this year. So it is something that has a lot of value. They're going to be the Orioles need help bad back there. The Yankees could use another arm in the bullpen. The Dodgers just like buying everybody. So, I mean, there's definitely...
The Dodgers still have prospects, too.
They do, exactly. It's ridiculous. So, I think they can be talked into, selling him more than keeping him. Because here's the deal. They can't keep him without they have to add to the roster to stay competitive. Like, they can't keep this roster as it sits now.
Agreed.
So it's, okay, how do we do that? So, yeah, they're interesting. San Diego Padres, we definitely buyers. And then we get into the Grimace Mets and the San Francisco Giants. The Arizona Diamondbacks.
I do have...
all within 4 games.
I reached out to Aaron Hughes the other day. Remember I said I was going to get some insight on Corbin.
Yep.
He said he's fine health-wise.
It just stinks?
Basically, he was on a hit stretch, long on-base streak before the Phillies, started slumping again. His swing's back to being flat. He's working on it, no results. We want him to figure it out soon. And then I also said, what do you think's going to happen? More so because, Mariners Twitter, and myself included, would love to see a Paul Sewald and Ketel Marte reunion up in Seattle. So that was mainly my point. I was like, what do you think's going to happen? He said they won't be sellers, at least not unless something big happens. If they aren't out of it, they're not going to sell. He said maybe a small buy.
Yeah.
He's hoping they want to be within 2 to 3 games by the trade deadline. Right now they're in a good spot. Yeah. He thinks, but
so there are 3 teams here. The Diamondbacks, the Pirates, and the Reds, to me, are all sit-tight teams.
Dan's going to get mad at the Reds.
At the Reds?
Well, Dan's going to get mad
here's the deal. I don't think any of them have the ability to make big trades. I don't think any of them...
I think the Reds just kind of be them. They just do. They're fine. They're not fine. They're not going to do it this year. They're all
close enough that they might be able to make it. They might somehow sneak into the playoffs. All 3 of those teams. All of them have a shot.
Yeah.
But they're not making a splash to make a run because they think they're World Series contenders. None of those teams think they are. If you do, you're crazy.
Well, here's the problem. The Diamondbacks did it last year. They've proven that all you have to do is get in.
You just have to get hot at the right time.
Correct.
They're not, that's why a better reason for the Diamondbacks to sit tight because they've done it already. They think they can do it again.
Agreed.
So I'm just saying those teams aren't making splashes because they don't think
I agree. Okay, sorry, I agree.
Look at that. All right, easy enough. All right.
I agree with you. They don't need to make a big splash. They could add some small stuff. And here's the thing. I keep saying, they can add this, they could add that. There's going to be a lack of supply.
Yeah.
Based on everything we just said, the 13th best team in the National League might not be a seller.
Yep. Yeah.
So what does that mean?
Yeah.
Okay, you go to the Marlins and you call them and they have their 3 guys. Does somebody scoop them all up at one time?
Right.
Did they hash that out? Again, the Rockies, we didn't say a ton. There's not, the pieces aren't all there unless you're just going to grossly overpay.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree with that. And so I guess the last 2 on that bubble are the Mets and the Giants. I think both of these teams... The Mets, because the Mets have infinite money.
They do.
And the Giants, because I'd never know what the Giants are going to do. I think both of those teams could be big buyers, but also not. You know what I mean? It's weird. I don't know what to think of these teams. And, the Giants have been connected to a couple trades. The Mets have been connected to being sellers, with Alonso and such.
That? So there's a question. That's it. Say no more. Is it worth trading Pete Alonso right now? Would you? You're GM of the Mets. Are you moving Pete Alonso?
Yeah, I don't think I'll get a better return for him than right now.
Well, you won't because he's a free agent.
Oh,
not possible.
Well, okay, right. Okay, sorry.
He's a rental.
I thought he had one. Okay.
99%.
Wow. Okay. Well, then yeah. I mean, I think you.
I suppose the it's almost you have to be inside the room, right? Because you're like, what are the chances I have of you signing here? Because
will he come back to New York is the question. Like if they feel confident that they can re-sign him, then don't get rid of him.
But, yeah,
because he's a centerpiece of that team. But if they're like, this guy's going to test the market, let's get him the fuck out of here. Then I get that.
But now they kind of got the fan base riled up. They're doing this whole Grimace thing. They've got. Did you see Jose Iglesias is like a singer songwriter now? Yeah. Like what in it? But like they're all included. Like the team morale seems super high, which is way different than the Mets of the past.
Yeah.
That's a team you need to watch throughout July. So it's going to be based on.
So here's the deal: are the Mets like, let's sell Pete Alonso, let's get some shit for him, and then let's sign Josh Bell to kind of fill that hole in?
Maybe,
even though we have these younger players, so we're not. So it's kind of like recycling. It's kind of staying put in a lot of ways because they're doing a little of both.
He's such a big piece, though. Like I don't think he's a replace. Like. I just don't think he's replaceable for them in this scenario. Josh Bell isn't that good.
No, I completely agree with you. But is the risk reward going? We can get better in the future by getting rid of Alonso and getting the most we can out of him now, and replacing him to hopefully stay hot and sneak into the playoffs and get hot at the right time, or do we just ride this team we have now, try to add some because they can't make big splashes.
No,
so. Yeah, anyways, I think the Mets are very interesting. I think the Giants, too, are because the Giants have been linked to a couple players.
They have money.
They have money, but they've been linked to, like, Verlander. They've been linked to Josh Bell. Like, they are in
Justin Verlander isn't leaving the Astros. If they're buying, he doesn't leave. He's not. Those two ideas don't coexist. He's not going anywhere.
I disagree.
He's not going anywhere.
I think that they can do both. I think they're going to be big movers.
I want him gone. Don't get me wrong.
Right,
get him
of course
out of
you
there.
do.
But he will be there, and he will shove it up my ass 3 times in September, and I won't have anything I could do about it.
You're probably not wrong. All right.
No, I'm not.
Well, okay. Take it easy, sir. All right, so Chris, let's transition. We've talked a lot about teams being buyers and sellers. Let's talk about the big names, right?
Yep.
I think the number one name I want to talk about first is Garrett Crochet. I think he's the most highly targeted pitcher in the market. Do you think I'm wrong or right?
I'm thinking. I don't think there's anybody else.
Yeah.
Right.
So no, there's definitely not. That's
there's
the
other
big
bats,
name.
but
no. I'm talking about. I'm talking about starting pitching.
I'm
right.
talking out loud.
Hey man,
Jesus.
Chill. Jeez, God, you're so angry today. I'm the one who's hurt.
Pissing me off.
I'm the one who should be bitchy, not you. All right, so Garrett Crochet, White Sox, left-handed, dude's pitching his ass off. The team names I keep seeing over and over again are the Yankees and the Padres. Do we think there is another team that can fit here? I think
the Orioles.
The Orioles.
Because, again, if they want somebody, they can have him.
Right.
And they lost Bradish.
Right.
And guys are stepping up. Don't get me wrong. There's some guys that are stepping up for them. Like pitching against the Mariners doesn't count, but Grayson just shoved it last night. Creamer's about to pitch this evening. He just got, this is the third still, by the way. But he just came back. And Corbin Burns is pitching at a Cy Young level. They got exactly what they wanted out of him.
Yep.
So, yeah, if you said it, I'm sorry, and I wasn't paying much attention. But the Dodgers are
Dodgers. Yeah, I think
they're playing for everybody too.
Yeah, I think the problem is going to be every big name we say we're going to include the Yankees and the Dodgers at some point, just because they're the ones who
they're going to be attached to somebody until they hone in on one in particular, I suppose. But the Dodgers are because while
Dodgers
they have
starting
everybody,
pitching.
Yeah, while they have everybody, there's still a lot of question marks in that rotation. And yes, Kershaw is going to come back at some point, and supposedly Yamamoto is going to come back.
Yep.
And again, what are you going to get from them? Is Yamamoto going to be the same person he was pre-injury?
Yeah,
we don't know that.
Do we trust that guy in the playoffs? This brand new to the.
And I said I love Gavin Stone. He's been pitching fantastic.
Should be an all-star.
He's your number 2 starter.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah. So the Dodgers have to be
him
part
against Aaron Nola in the playoffs.
Yeah. That has to be That has to be part of the conversation. I don't disagree with that. Sticking with the White Sox, I think Luis Robert Jr.
Robert. I don't know.
We don't know. It's one of the two. That's a name that has come up a lot. Who do we think has the ability to go after him? Because I feel like Crochet is a big name, but he's not. He's having a really good year. It's not a name we've seen over and over again. Whereas Robert Jr. is a proven starter that can help any lineup. You put him in any lineup, and that's an upgrade. So who do we think actually has the ability and the need to go after Robert? LRJ, if you will.
I think so. There's a lot of people who are down on him, and I understand he had some injuries. He was hurt a little bit this year. But last year he played 157 games for a dog shit team in the White Sox. Yep. This is me touting Luis Robert, by the way. He's 27 years old, might be 26. He's a star. He's on a dog shit team, and he still produces. He might get banged up here or there, but he's not Eloy Jimenez. Let's get that out of everybody's head. He's going to command a large price. So if it wouldn't surprise me if he doesn't get moved, because I could see them just being like, I want all this and deal with it. He's ours. Because he's under control for the next 2 years. This year and plus 2.
Well, that's the thing. They
at
can hold
$20 million.
They can hold on to him and then trade him next year if he continues to play well.
He might command more in the offseason than he does right now. So based on everything I've said, I have to stick to it. The Orioles can go get him. If they say, I want him, they can. Mm-hmm. I don't think they... Another statement I want to make. Robert and Crochet do not go in the same deal. They will get more.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
They're going to if they move both, they will piece them out because they will collectively get a slew of people.
Now, I could see Robert and, let's say, moving down the White Sox pit, like Kopech. I could see those two guys being moved together.
Yeah. Kopech is a throw-in guy at this point.
And then maybe...
He just throws real hard.
Could Crochet and Jimenez be a deal?
If somebody wants you, Jimenez, that's on you.
Yeah.
You
I'm just trying to think of what other packages might exist out there for the White... Because here's the White Sox are obviously moving guys.
I agree that would be the move, but that's on the buyer to be like, do I really want
to take
Jimenez?
That? Yeah, that's fair.
How old do you think Eloy Jimenez is? I think we did this
did this last time. I think didn't we say he was 31 or something?
Yeah, no, you did. He's 27.
Oh,
he's still young.
I thought he was... Okay, yeah. I thought
all things considered, we did have this conversation. All things considered, he's still young.
Yes.
He hasn't been good, right, since his rookie season. So I do think he could be a throw-in, but I also have no idea what his... Oh, I take it back. He makes... Oh, boy. We're going to do math here.
Oh, boy. Math is hard.
God damn it. No. That's 2. Yeah, 9. 2, 6, 7, 9.
Wow.
He makes $10 million a year only.
Okay.
Through 24, and he has a team option for 25 and 26.
Okay. Yeah,
he's kind of worth $10 million.
No, I don't disagree.
If that's the deal, I don't know how much he makes in the team option. So kind of piece them all together. I think the Orioles are in play for practically anybody until we get a more zoned in version of what they want and what they're looking for. Mm-hmm. Because again, if they're saying screw all these prospects, I want to win, they got them. Done deal. If they're like, I'm going to hang on to people, they won't get.
Yeah,
they'll add Taylor Ward or Brent Rooker and be done with it. Right. He's been linked to the Phillies. Again, to your point, I don't know if that's the move. I don't know if that's...
Does Philly have the prospects to move for him?
I think they do and they don't.
Okay.
That's a matter of... That's the win now.
See,
they have a couple...
That's definitely win
now. Their
now.
main pitching prospect, I can't believe I forget his name, just had Tommy... He had Tommy John this year, so he's out.
Right,
but Mick Abel's a big prospect for them, a pitcher. I think they have Justin Crawford still. Mm-hmm. I forget all of them, but they have some guys. They have some names. Does that get them Luis Robert? I don't think so.
See, that's the thing. So the Braves need outfield help very badly.
Yes.
But we do not have the capital for Luis Robert.
Correct.
Robert Jr. So that's the thing. Like I think he's going to demand a pretty high price tag. And I just don't know how many teams can actually do that other than, say, the Yankees or the Dodgers, who have, the money of God and somehow the deepest farm team systems
have
too.
5 top 100 prospect.
Okay, so
Andrew Painter is the guy's name. I forgot.
So Phillies have an opportunity, I guess. Do they want another bat or do they want more arms, I guess is the question.
Yeah, that's just your...
I think the Phillies are more going to probably look for bullpen help. So they're going to be, I think they're going to key in on anyone they can get from the Nationals, 7th, 8th, or 9th, to help, just make that back end strong as hell. Because they've proven, especially with...
I'm going to be so sad because the Mariners aren't going to get Robert. And it's going to be like a deal that they should have very well done or could have made the call and got done. Mm-hmm. And he's going to go and make a wildly positive impact wherever he goes. Yep. And I'm just going to be very upset.
You're just going to be salty. You're just going to be super salty. All right. So what's another name, Chris? I started this off. Tell me a name that you think is a highly likelihood that they're going to get moved.
High
likelihood they'll be moved.
I know you don't like it, and it's probably a little... Well... I'm going to go with Tanner Scott of the Marlins. He's their closer. He's having a very, very good season. And I think that is where everybody will be able to go first for their back-end bullpen help.
So essentially you're saying it's not Helsley.
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Because I think he's going to be more attainable than Helsley. Because the Marlins are selling. Helsley, you're going to have to woo them. Tanner Scott, you can get for... He's got a 1.5 ERA. He is somehow 6-5. He is 6-5, got 12 saves, and he's a lefty.
Yeah,
he's been very, very good.
You're not wrong. I mean that's fair. If the Cardinals tell people to kick rocks, I get it, but I don't think the Cardinals are going to tell people to kick rocks.
But even if they don't, okay, sure, Helsley's available. Tanner Scott's still there. There's going to be a lot of teams want a lefty, high leverage arm.
Yep,
a lot of them. Name every single playoff team potentially that we just talked about. Every one of them wants a lefty.
He doesn't have to come in and close. Come in and be my setup man.
Correct.
Yeah, that's fair.
Whatever that is. He will be in demand. It's going to get done for me. One, maybe you're like, oh, that felt, and then a guy you've never ever heard of. Mm-hmm. Even if he was in your franchise, you're gonna be like, I never heard of that guy in my life.
Don't know what he does.
He will get moved. He should get moved because he's valuable. And I know that was like a little side note of what you were going for. Who I think will be interesting is just the Blue Jays in general. Mm-hmm. Does Bichette get traded? Mm-hmm. Does Vladimir Guerrero Jr., who is on an absolute terror right now, get traded? Like he's playing like everybody wants him to or wanted him to. So
both of those guys have done interviews recently where they've talked about how they'll play for any team and they want to help any team win. So I feel like both those guys have been told they're out. Like we're gonna pieces or deuces, man. We're getting out of here.
I know it'll be by the time we do this, it'll be our preseason or our mid-season review. But I might, when I go on Buds and Blue Jays, I might see if I can get them to agree to send me Vladdy.
Yeah, make that trade now. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But again, you can't trade him right now. He's your best player. Like
you can. Like I mean, they're too far out.
I'm trying to.
They're outside that cusp. They have to sell, and those guys are super valuable.
If the Atlanta Braves were in this spot right now, would you trade Matt Olson, assuming he had the same contract as Vladimir Guerrero? Like
Matt Olson.
That's what you're saying, or Austin Riley. Here, that's a better one.
That's a better one.
Austin Riley. Not on his current contract, on what would assume to be Vlad's contract. He's on control for a year or two. You're 7 games out of the wild card. You trade in Austin Riley. Or how do you feel if you're the Braves trade off? That's what I'm trying to put myself into as a fan, like what I would do if that happened. Because you're like, well, shit. Like now I don't care. I don't care if I watch another goddamn Blue Jays game this season because now we're not. It
would depend, right? If we got rid of Riley, I would expect us to get like a top 10 prospect and another top 25 prospect.
Sure.
If I'm 7 games out and my team has been middling, just like
you're getting old. Like, again, the Braves might not be the best. I'm just trying to say
no.
That's your team.
I think that's a fair comparison. I think I would look at it when it pops up on ESPN. I'd be like, what the actual fuck?
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Right? But after sitting down and going, let's breathe, let's do our routine, and I'll look up the players. I'll go, you know what? I love Austin, but he's going to ask for too much later. Yeah, that's fine.
It'll be a shock, and then you have to. Yeah, you're going to be mad. You're going to go online.
The fandom's going to be like, you motherfuckers,
you're but
like
tweet some bad things.
But then, like a day later, I'm going to take that tweet down. All right. You know what I mean? I think that's really. That's fair.
Okay.
On my true reaction, and I think that's the Cusp teams have to like deal with, like those owners.
That's hard, and again, as a fan, it's hard. You're just like, I don't know what to do.
But this is best for the team, you know. And I think they move both Bichette and Vlad.
If I'm being honest, and what I said is true. Like they're not the Blue Jays are in a worse spot than the Braves are as a team.
100%.
Right? Yeah. They're employing George Springer, who's playing better, but his contract is a mess. Justin Turner should be DFA'd the way he's playing, and then they just have a bunch of guys. You're like,
dude, he fell off quick. By the way, Turner.
Well, he's 40 years old.
I know, but anyway, sorry.
age is a son of a bitch. So yeah, like it's a weird thing to say, and especially now that his OPS is close to like 850 or something.
Yeah.
Like Vlad is Vlad. He's playing very, very
He's
well.
playing very well, yeah.
And then the other issue is you have the conversation of the other guy. You have Bichette too. Same concept, same idea.
Here's the deal though. I feel like because Bichette is in a position that is not as large, right? Outfielders, for the most part, can play.
Plays shortstop.
I know, but I'm just saying there's you need 3 outfielders. You know what I'm saying? So Vlad can do that. So he's more likely because there's more teams that need that piece. Whereas a lot of teams have one shortstop they're okay with and don't want to sell the farm for Bichette, who may not be much better given the numbers he's had this year. You know what I mean? So to me, I think Vlad is more likely than Bichette. I think Bichette should get moved too, but I just don't know.
If you move one, you move them both.
Oh, I agree.
You rip the Band-Aid off,
I agree.
and that's it.
Yeah, you can't have
it's one or, so they are a keep your eye on. It's one or both.
I completely agree.
Excuse me, it's both or zero.
Both or none. Yeah, I think that's where I'm at. Fair. That's very fair.
And where, again, it's very. I know we wanted this to be a very much of like where the hell do these guys go, but it's so hard. And for the sake of not saying the same 4 teams every time, like. Would it be cool to see Vladimir Guerrero Jr. on the Brewers and just be like Prince Fielder 2.0? Yeah.
Right.
Like, and I know Rhys Hoskins is there. No, Rowdy Tellez is on the Pirates.
Yep.
But yeah, like I want him on the Brewers. I want to be Prince Fielder 2.0.
Interesting. Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess that's fair. And there are definitely teams that are going to sneak into this conversation that we didn't even think were going to go forward.
Rays.
So you think the Rays could be buyers?
Sellers.
Sellers, okay.
That's not me. Phone's ringing.
Yep, sorry. Spam risk.
Unbelievable. Do they know what's going on?
No, they don't, apparently.
Capacity
they don't know I'm a subpar
Rays,
podcaster.
Here's the thing. I don't know how they do it. It makes no sense at all. But the Rays can still... They're the only team I'm confident in that can move major league players and still move on like nothing happened.
Right. They can sell half their team and still compete.
They'll
in the
move Yandy Diaz or Isaac Paredes. They won't move them all. They'll move 1 or 2.
Yep.
They'll get some teams like number 2 prospect and then 2 other guys you've never heard of who will be in Tropicana Field doing ridiculous things to you in 2 years.
Yep.
And they'll win the trade every time. Mm-hmm. The guy that they get rid of will fall off a cliff in a year and a half. And it's just the matter.
Magic.
But in some way, they'll find somebody to replace him, replace this person, however they do it, and they'll just keep humming along. They won't lose. They might not get. They're not going to get to 100 games. They might not get to 95, but God damn it, they're going to be right in that 82 to 89 wins every time.
They just figure it out.
They do, and
figure it out.
And it pisses me off because then all the other teams of the league try to do what they do and they can't.
Yeah. All right. So, Chris, do we have any other names that we think are for sure going to be dealt, or names that we think are interesting? I mean, I've talked about Helsley a lot.
You did.
I do think Verlander is on the block because I think the Astros can get things back. I think they can still be sellers and get rid of Verlander. But I think that's a fair point. If they're buyers, they keep him.
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense.
They're just not, unless it's not going to fall apart because they're on the uphill and Kyle Tucker's on his way back. They're up my ass.
I think there's a big name like Jazz over with the Marlins is one of the bigger names that has been linked, but not real. I think it's just going to cost way too much.
I think his cost is way less than your projection.
Really? Okay.
I just don't.
He's one of those guys that I feel like he's going to go to a good team and he's just going to blow up.
He might reach his potential somewhere. Maybe he doesn't. I could see that.
Miami is not the place where you reach your potential right now.
I could see. Well, and speaking of them, and it's weird. It's also a very, very weird concept to be like, hey, this team sucks, but I want all of their players.
Yeah.
But that speaks to individually, right? Like, Brian De La Cruz is an interesting name because he could play some outfield. He's a DH. He hits for decent power. I think he's got like 15 or so.
Yep.
I'll tell you in 30 seconds. He's got 15 homers.
Yeah.
So he's a source of power. I'm looking at it. He's 27 years old. Like, there's another guy. Big name? No. I think a big name that could move is Bellinger. I know I'd mentioned him.
Okay.
I think...
Bellinger's suitors would be who?
I forget what that list is. I mean, major players, but apparently Seattle's still interested. I don't know how they come into play. It would be awesome. I'd love every second of it.
Yep.
And I'd complain the entire time when he keeps playing like he is now. But that's part of being a fan, right? I guess the surprise at this point would be Alonso. I'd be very surprised to wake up.
Because his name's been linked for a long time that this was the year he's going to get traded. So I agree with you. If he does get traded, it'll be a shocker given what the Mets are doing right now. But, I mean, his name's out there. And I do wonder, the other name I kept bringing up was Tyler O'Neill, right? Another outfielder.
Yeah.
Having a great season. But I think both of those teams are in the same boat. And the Cubs arguably could be too. Bellinger, Alonso, O'Neill, they're all great players, but their teams are all within striking distance of making a playoff push. So what do they do? And I think that's really that's where it gets interesting to me, like what teams make deals and what teams don't, because there's a bunch that are on that cusp.
There really is. I've been saying it for years, and it's just never going to happen. He's going to retire as a Pirate, but I want Brian Reynolds out of Pittsburgh. I want him on a better team. Mm-hmm. He's not. He signed his contract. He's just there.
Yeah, no.
I had him as pegged as a Seattle Mariner for like 3 years. Every trade deadline, I was like, "This is the year." This is the year. And then he signed that contract, and you're like, "Oh, okay." Like the Nationals. I guess Lane Thomas is a similar player.
Yep.
And then I don't know who else is going to be out there.
Yeah.
I've mentioned Rooker and Ward.
Mm-hmm.
The Tigers don't have Flaherty. That's a
Flaherty's the only one that can really move, if you're being honest. Yes. I can't really think of anyone else that would feel comfortable moving.
All right.
Uh-oh.
Put on your tinfoil hat.
Okay.
If you're the Tigers, you're not very good.
Right.
You don't really have a lot of good going on.
Nope. No, we do not.
Do you take a couple calls on Tariq Skubal?
Ooh.
Do you just answer and just listen? Don't say anything. Just take it all in and see what somebody's got to say. Because they're not there. They're not. Tariq Skubal isn't carrying them anywhere.
No.
It's proven. They're 9 games under 500. They stink. Right? And you're getting top.
But like they would have to get.
You're answering the phone.
Ransom.
You're taking the call. You're listening.
You're answering all the calls.
You're listening.
Yeah, you're listening to all the calls. But your ears are not perking up hardly ever.
You're talking an insane amount.
Yes.
You're talking like 5 of the Orioles prospects.
Absolutely. 1,000%.
Plus some like a major leaguer.
Give me your 5th starter and your 5 best.
Give me Dean Creamer and like 4 or 5. But in all seriousness, like they're not there. Like I like Riley Green. He's a good player. But okay. Like Mark Hanna.
Yeah.
The Javi Baez experience didn't work, clearly. Colt Keith. Okay. Like they have nothing. Like what do they have? What is redeemable about the Tigers right now?
Yeah,
that's it.
And Flaherty's pitched really well.
Yes, but we already shipped him somewhere. He's gone.
So I mean, the Tigers could be big sellers if they're even willing to do that. But he's such a big piece and so young. It's like build around that kid. You know what I mean?
But
like,
how do you?
I don't know.
They're not 2 years.
It's a good question.
I'm looking at it. I've been cheating today, but that's okay.
No, that's fine.
He's 27 years old. How many more? I think he's already had an arm injury. I think.
Oh, I didn't realize he was 27. Okay.
Oh yeah, he's not a young. Yeah,
I was thinking he was 25 at the oldest. Okay.
Did I don't know if he's had an injury or not.
I mean,
he's had he started 29 games once, 21, 15, and now he's up to 17. So he's building it back up, and he's been good when he's on the mound, no, without a doubt. But it's just they're not 2 years away. They have nothing. I don't think they have. Here, let me tell you how many top prospects they have.
Yeah,
not many.
I don't think it's a lot. So, yeah, you have to take that phone call.
Sorry, I take it back. They have 4 top 100 prospects.
That's not end of the world.
ETAs. Max Clark, that kid that they drafted, I think over Wyatt Langford, maybe.
I think so. Yep.
Yeah. He's 19, and his ETA is 2026.
19.
They have now this kid I know a lot about, Jackson Jobe. He's in.
Of course, his name is Jackson. All of them are named Jackson.
Just name your kids Jackson, people. He is 21. His ETA is next year.
Okay.
Apparently, Jace Jung is in Single A. That name sounded way more familiar, and I know it's not the other one. But anyway, he's expected this year, and Kevin McGonigal is 19, and his ETA is 2027.
Okay.
So there's your 4 best prospects. None of them expected to. ETA, I think, is way different than impact.
After this conversation, Chris, I think the Tigers have to be sellers, right?
You got to take that phone call.
You got to take the phone call.
You have to
everybody.
explore. You have to be open to. You can't just say no.
I mean, I completely agree. I mean, so are they? What about there's a lot of talk around Torkelson at the beginning of the year.
Stinks.
Not been good.
They can't develop anybody either.
He's a young guy. He's 24. I'm looking at it right now. So
Stinks.
I bet there are teams that are going to be like, hey, get Spencer out of there, and I'll teach him how to be better. I think he's on the trading block if we're looking at it from that perspective.
If they want to give up on him. Like you're okay.
Why would they not give up on him? You know what I mean? Like, if we're talking about rebuild, you need to ship everybody out.
Yeah, I guess that's the point,
dude,
right?
Green's WAR is 3.1. Damn,
I said he's been very good. But what is it? For what? For what? Good.
Yeah. I mean, how's that helped? Yeah. I mean, I got you.
They're just not a good team overall, and I think it's worth that conversation. Like I do think that's a legitimate, non-far-fetched scenario, and maybe I don't know the answer if it is this or wait until next year. But I think if I'm a fan, I just want you to rip the Band-Aid off, and just that's it. We're back in a rebuild. But again, the Tigers have been in this rebuild for an indefinite amount of time.
Yeah,
since the days of Scherzer, that whole squad. Scherzer, Verlander, Zimmerman, that whole gang.
Yeah, dude,
they just haven't put it together.
16 games out of the division, 8 out of wild card. They gotta sell. Like
I understand selling, but what I'm saying is there's nobody there. You can't sell Riley Green.
Yeah, you can. No. Why not?
How old is
Ship
he?
him out.
How old is he? 23. 23.
Oh,
Bang.
Shit, that's so young.
Told you he doesn't go anywhere.
Torkelson's young too.
Torkelson stinks.
Yeah.
Well, sorry.
No, he's not good. I've looked at it.
He hit 30-some home runs last year.
Yeah, no, he was great last year, but he hasn't done shit this year.
Yeah, for a number 1 overall pick, man, that's bad.
Yeah.
And so
and the kid has 4 home runs this year.
Yeah, he's in the minors. He's not on the team right now.
No, I know, but I'm just saying he performed so badly.
Yeah. He just hasn't been what they expect. So the other thing is as an organization, you're not doing very well developing these people.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I guess you're right. If they're young and not doing well, then they can't really be sellers.
And I know we spent a lot of time talking about Tigers, but you're talking an AL Cy Young candidate, probably number 1 at this point.
Yep. And
a team that I think would actually move, because you don't have that same conversation doesn't exist for the Pirates and Jared Jones, right? That doesn't exist, right? The Pirates have a couple pieces. They've got some minor, they have some things that they can build upon.
The Pirates are a couple years away,
but they have a there's a
plan.
There's an actual
agreed. Yep.
setup. The Tigers just aren't there. And okay, great, we have Jackson Jobe coming. Okay,
Cool. I mean, 4 prospects is bad. So I think I think that'll be interesting.
That's the move. I think I don't know what they're capable of getting, but that's a. All right. You call up those Orioles.
I think that's great. I think that those conversations are valid. So, okay, Chris, we've talked a lot about the rest of the league, right? And everyone who's listening, thank you so much for listening. We greatly appreciate it.
This is for us.
We're about to talk about our teams real quick. It's going to be a longer podcast, so stick around.
Yeah.
But if not, then thank you for listening to the first hour. But now we're going to talk for another 2 hours about our teams.
That's a lot. Maybe
it's not a lot. We'll see.
A couple minutes.
A couple minutes. Yeah. So, Chris, we've talked about the Mariners.
We have.
So give me. Are you buyers? Oh, we know you're buyers. Okay, we don't even do that.
They fucking better be, man.
They better be.
be.
Give me who you want versus who you think, and you can give me multiple. However you want to break that out. I want some passion, Chris. What's happening? What's going to happen? What do you need?
I want Luis Robert.
Okay.
No question. It does. What I think is we find a guy from the Rays. Pick one. Paredes, Yandy Diaz.
Yep.
Maybe Randy Arozarena. And like that. Whoa. See, that's the thing about him.
Jesus.
That name, that's a bigger name than he is production right now.
Yeah. But, okay. I mean, I guess that's fair. But that to me is the most off limits for the Rays.
It's not.
Okay.
He's 29. He's batting 196.
Oh, gross.
Yeah.
I know it was 190. Ooh.
His WAR is 0.3. So it's a buy low. So here's this is I didn't know he was that bad. I knew he wasn't to where he was. Yeah. This is a Mariners trade. It's we could fix him. And he has a history of being good because he is, right? OPS 789. That's solid.
That's how Rays win. They're like, remember how good this guy was?
23 home runs. He's hit 20 home runs a season for the past 3 years. Prior to this year, he has a chance to go over. Typically hits in the it's been going down 270, 260, 250. That might be a trend. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But I guess my point being, like, he matches everything that they do with their deals. Jorge Polanco, we could reignite what he's got. No, he's been steadily declining for 3 years. And don't get me wrong, you could probably look back and find me being excited about Jorge Polanco because here I thought I was getting a guy who's worth not negative 0.3 WAR. That hurt. Right. That was a little knife twist. But here I thought, well, this is 2021, but an 826 OPS. Even last year through 80 games had a 789 OPS. So the more I think about it, the more it's like Randy Arozarena kind of fits that bill. I would much prefer a guy like Brent Rooker or Taylor Ward. However, those teams are not going to trade him to us within the division, so I have to write them off because I think those are guys that won't be very expensive.
Yeah,
I think like that for the Braves. I think those are attainable guys. Maybe not Rooker because he's a DH, but probably Ward. I think he could play some outfield. I'd be lying to say I wasn't excited when the talks on Bellinger and Nico Horner came up. Nico Horner is better than what we have. He doesn't hit for power, but he's fast, plays good D. We'll take it. We've been tied to Pete Alonso. I don't know. I deal with Mariners Twitter on a daily basis of we can't trade this prospect or this prospect or this prospect. And then it's, well, we suck. We need to get better. It's like, well, how the hell do you think that happens? You have to give up a guy that's not coming for years. So here's the same thing I did for the Tigers. Ready? Seattle Mariners. That's had to update. Maybe they didn't update this page. I'm looking at five top 100 prospects according to MLB.com today. I think that changed. 8. Oh, that's Baseball America. Let's see if they give it to me. Anyway, looking at MLB.com because it's the one I typically use. 2025 ETA for Cole Young. 2025 ETA for Harry Ford. 2026 Cole Emerson. 2026 Lazaro Montes. 2028 Felnin Celestin. He's 18. You got 18, 19, 18 years old. somebody's got to get moved.
Yeah.
You can't make your major league team better by keeping these guys. Something has to happen. And I get it. Like, some of these guys are good and might pan out. But guess what? I'll go back to the Luis Castillo trade. Everybody was mad. Oh, my God. We got rid of Noelvi Marte. We got rid of Edwin Arroyo. And nothing bad happened. Marte got banged for steroids, and he might end up being a good player. I have no qualms about it. But that's the deal you make. You go get Luis Castillo. That was a surprise. So I hope that they come out of nowhere. They come from, like, Sting, the wrestler from the goddamn rafters, and do that to me again, because that was one of the happiest day of my Mariners fandom, minus them making the playoffs.
Our friend, the Rob Brown, is going to love that reference.
I hope so. I hope he stuck around for this far. But in all seriousness, I need them to surprise me. I want them to. I'm naming all these names. Everybody's got all these grand ideas. Surprise me. Make something crazy happen. Go show that you're in it. We're in the goddamn lead of the division. This doesn't happen. Yeah. It's slowly slipping away, slowly but surely, because the Astros are coming. You can't stay status quo. You'll lose me through, like, if there's no trades made, you'll lose me. I'll be so pissed. Like, you won't even comprehend.
You'll still be a fan.
But I won't watch as religiously as I do.
That's fair.
Hand up. I have been falling asleep a lot lately. But what are you gonna do? They don't start till 10 o'clock. Man.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks trying to be a West Coast fan.
It is. All right, that's my soapbox. I went a little long, but I'm not sorry. This needs to happen for my livelihood, and I need it. So let's see what happens. There's a lot of names out there. Go get me one of them. For the love of God.
Yeah, I hear you. So on my end, the Braves, we need two things. We need outfielders, and we need starters. And it's essentially, we lost our best player in each regard. You know, Strider out for the year, Acuna out for the year. Right. Our outfield is suffering. Kelenic, by the way, playing his ass off. Thank you so much for Kelenic, and he's definitely the star out there. Harris is banged up. So our outfield is very, very bare. Adam Duvall is a forever Brave. Thank you for everything you've done. I don't want you as my day-to-day starter. Just don't.
Can't be.
No, thank you. And so I need an outfielder. I love, like, obviously everybody wants Robert. There's no way. I'm trying to think of things we have a shot at. Yeah, I think Lane Thomas is someone that we could possibly get.
In division?
Yes.
Okay.
And then Tyler O'Neill is the other name for the Red Sox. Again, if they're sellers, which I understand. I think Ward's going to demand too much. I'd love to have Ward. Yeah. But I think most likely is going to be one of those players that don't really do anything for you, like De La Cruz. You know, like, we're not going to get Chisholm. He's going to be way too much. Or he's another center fielder. I doubt we'll grab him. So De La Cruz seems more likely. I like Rooker if we can put him in left field. But he is a DH, so maybe we can't. But we deal with the A's all the time, right? So there's a possibility. Yeah, there's a possibility that Rooker is on our radar because of that. So I think don't know how most likely it's going to.
If he's a decent defender, sure, like that. He's makes better sense.
He's not worse than Adam Duvall. I can guarantee you that.
Duvall's playing every day right now.
He has to.
Yikes.
Yeah, close to every day for sure. Well
then, okay.
Yeah, and then pitching wise, again.
Oh boy.
What?
Oh dear.
Oh dear, what?
So remember, back to a callback here of Baseball Savant, and you're like, oh, Red's really, really good.
Yep.
I got to Brent Rooker's fielding, and it's like gray.
Oh, is that bad?
Yeah,
I feel like Red's bad.
No, Red's very good. You want all red on Baseball Savant.
Oh, that
red
means you're hot.
Good.
Okay, gotcha.
I guess.
So gray is bad. Is that like cold?
There's blue.
That seems like
and
hot
then
and
there's
cold.
Gray.
So gray's worse.
He's in range. He might not qualify, I guess, but his range, I don't know what that means, is -2.
I feel like that can't
be good.
It means he takes a step one direction. It's bad.
I'm not even sure, like what we're getting at here. Here, I'll tell you in a second. Range. Range.
Well, sounds like I'm definitely out there. Then
he can't play the outfield. I'm sorry.
Okay. So Rooker may be out of the question then, and I don't think there's anyone else on the A's that we would want. But like I said, we deal with them a lot. That's why I think he would be on the radar. We can't have two Azunas. We can't put Azuna in the outfield. He's dog shit as well. And then pitching wise,
Duvall is way better.
Okay.
That's bad.
Yeah, that's not good. That's
okay,
not good.
go on.
Yeah.
So continue.
I'm moving on. But so I think Lane Thomas is the one I want the most.
I like him.
I don't think we'll get him, but he's the type of he's not Acuna. Let me make sure.
No,
but
stop that.
Same prototype, a guy that can hit for power and steals a lot, has range. So Lane is my number one. I would love for us to walk away with him. Pitching wise, I've been talking about Fetty the entire time.
Eric Fetty is a Brave.
Eric Fetty would be great as a Brave. But it's more likely we get Kopech than it is at Fetty, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, but Kopech's more bullpen, no? Or is that?
Oh, I guess that's fair.
I don't think he's started in a while.
Okay. Well, here's the deal. We like getting those relief starters like Lopez.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
From the White Sox,
yeah, from the White Sox. Yeah. So again, we deal with the White Sox often. I would love if it's Fetty. Hey, alien, I have on my we can do whatever we want hat. If we got Crochet, I would be to the moon. Not happening, but I think Fetty's up there. Now, the other team, again, looking at the Red Sox, you've got Cutter Crawford, you've got Hawk. Both those guys are pitching really well. Hawk is probably a Cy Young candidate right now.
Yeah,
and
he's not going nowhere.
And is probably not going anywhere. But if you asked me a couple months ago, I would have said one of those two guys. Not
sure.
Crawford, maybe. So the main names, Crochet, that's not happening. The second tier being the Fetty, the Crawford, maybe. Maybe we'll get someone like that. Most likely, we're going to get a fourth starter from some team I don't even have on the radar right now because we just don't have the process. Chris, tell me how many top 100 Braves have.
That was, again, this is MLB.com.
Yep.
There's no way this is updated recently.
That's fine.
No,
tell me what we got.
3.
Yeah.
Smith Shawver, who's been up and down.
Yep.
Hurston Waldrip, who's
also
hurt,
got hurt. Yep.
Wasn't very good when he pitched.
Nope.
And Spencer Schwellenbeck, who I think's been up and down.
He's now up as well.
Whatever.
Yeah. So our top 3 prospects have all tried to pitch in the majors, and we
according to MLB.com on 7/3 at 7:30 p.m. I'm looking at 67, 69, 96.
Yep. So those 3 guys, I guarantee,
Waldrip doesn't move.
We're not moving Waldrip. The other 2 we will.
You should.
And we'll give up the future for someone that can, like Fetty, that can get us competitive right now. So I think that's really what's going to happen. By the time the trade deadline's done, we're not going to have a farm team.
No,
because we're not in a
lot of teams.
It's a win now scenario for the Braves for sure. So, but yeah, those are my wish lists, hopes and dreams. Chris, anything else you want to talk about before we end the show? I know we've gone a little long, but everybody stuck around because they love us. So let's talk to them some more.
I'm having a tough time finding it, but I got a Jeff Passan notification that MLB starters were named.
Oh, the All-Star teams?
They're currently being named. I don't know if all of them have come out yet.
It's great podcasting.
So I know. I mean, I was trying to find a list of consolidated list of here's position. They literally posted it one by one.
Yeah.
So here's what I do know. I'll tell you what I know, and that's it. And you're gonna see it before this episode drops anyway. Vladimir Guerrero Jr., first base starter, American League. Jose Altuve, second base. Gunnar Henderson, shortstop. Jose Ramirez, third base. Adley, catcher. Jordan Alvarez, DH. And then that's all I got. And then Ketel Marte, second baseman for the NL. Trey Turner, shortstop for the NL. That's a weird one.
Interesting.
Philly fans must have voted hard.
Good Lord.
Well, let me say this. Alec Boehm, third base.
Oh, yeah.
Starter.
Philly went in hard.
William Contreras, catcher. That makes sense. Shohei, DH.
Yep.
Who's posting? Oh, no shit. On command. Underdog. Here's the American League All-Stars.
Let's go.
Adley, Vlad, Altuve, Ramirez, Gunnar. Outfield is Judge, Soto, Stephen Kwan, who's been very
good.
Very,
he deserved that. That's good.
And Jordan.
Okay.
That was we could be sitting here for a while for the NL.
Yeah, okay, cool. All right, so we got that at least.
That's the AL. There's your start. You're going to know before this even comes out.
So, Vladdy, does his stock go up even more now they made the All-Star team?
Can't trade him.
Can't.
You can't. I don't know. Listen, man, we talked a lot, and it felt a lot of long-winded, but I think we got our points across. And I want to stress that it is still hard. We're still a month away, and I do think throughout this month that this picture is going to get way more clear.
Yep.
These teams are going to separate a little bit more. They're going to, some of them might close the gap.
I like that we're doing it a little early, though, because it allows us to say, look how good we are at talking about this stuff.
Can you imagine
Man, be so
if we hit some of these? But throughout, as we said, our next episode is going to be 2 weeks. It's going to be in 2 weeks, excuse me. It's going to be a season in review. Mm-hmm. Now, if any big deals happen in between, then we will certainly break those down beforehand.
Oh yeah.
But if you think your team is, you've heard us shit on your team or not, if you think you want us to spin zone that, feel free. Let me know. Tell me about it. The floor is yours. We're not going to open it up like we did for the season previews, but feel free to state your case. Dan, specifically, if you think the Reds are going to show up, you let me know. I highly doubt it. We're anti-Reds right now.
Cold on the Reds.
Yeah, we're
not anti. We're anti-Royals. Fuck the Royals, but we're like cold on the Reds.
Yeah, I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, that's fine.
So,
but we're not like fuck.
Okay,
the
that's
Reds.
fair. That's fair. But yeah, that's where we see it going. And like we said, we're gonna have one more. So that'll release on the 19th, and then we're going to play around and see what we want to do in terms of deadline. The deadline's the 30th. That's July. That's Tuesday. Mm-hmm. So that would mean we wouldn't have an actual episode until August 2nd.
Yeah, I mean, it could just be us reacting to...
Yeah, we'll see what we end up doing.
Yeah.
Follow us on our socials still, forever and always, on X, at Coach's Sons Pod. Instagram, same thing. Woo-hoo. We do have a YouTube, contrary to popular belief.
We do.
We have a whopping 2 videos up. I believe it's Coach's Sons Pod there as well.
It is.
So follow us. Let us know. Share it. Tell your friends. Tell your friends. And we're gonna keep plugging along. We're back to schedule. So hopefully, if you've stayed with us through this entire time, thank you. But let all your friends know we are back.
We're back and we're stronger than ever. My name is Andrew.
And I'm Chris.
And this is the Coach's Sons Podcast.